Hello, my name is Ronald Zezima, and I am the immediate past president of the New Rochelle Bar Association. I welcome Richard Sosis, a past president of the association, to be interviewed for this program. The date is August 27, 2021, and we are both participating in the recording of this archive. I have agreed to and signed the interviewer's release form dated August 27, 2021, and Richard Sosis has agreed to and signed the interviewee release form. With the formalities completed, let's begin the interview.
Sure.
Good morning, Mr. Sosis.
Good morning, Mr. Zezima.
Okay, we're going to get a little background information
Sure.
from you first. Just give us a little bit of personal information, a minute or two of personal, and then we'll get into your legal career.
I was born in the Bronx in 1941 and grew up in the Bronx, went to school in the Bronx, went to City College of New York, Manhattan, and then to St. John's University School of Law, which I graduated from in 1967, and was sworn in as an attorney in December of 1967, December 21st, 1967, and I've been practicing law in New York since December 21st, 1967. So I guess that makes it 53 or 54 years of practicing law here in New York.
Okay, tell us about your first legal job.
Just out of law school, I joined up with two of my study mates from law school, and we joined a law firm that the father of one of them had in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. And I was with that firm in Bay Ridge. It was called Pfister, Flood, and Kramer for 8 years. We had an office on 75th Street or Bay Ridge Parkway in Brooklyn, and we also had a satellite office in Staten Island, and I manned the satellite office because I was the junior member of the firm.
Okay, and what type of practice was that? What did you do there?
When I was practicing in Brooklyn, I was a litigator, and the center of my practice was personal injury work.
Okay. And when did you come to New Rochelle? What brought you to Westchester County from Brooklyn?
In 1983, my daughter came home from school one day in Brooklyn and said that the principal of her school had closed the schoolyard, and that children were not allowed to play in the schoolyard any longer because they were falling down and skinning their elbows and knees. And my wife said, we've got to get out of here. We can't allow that to happen. We've got to find a school for the kids where they can run around and feel free to run around. So we had friends who were living in New Rochelle, and we came to New Rochelle with the idea that we would find a school in New Rochelle where the kids could run around, which we did. And we bought a house here and lived here for over 30 years.
Okay. And when did you come to learn of the New Rochelle Bar Association, and when did you join it?
In 1983, being a golfer, I went to play a round of golf at a local golf course, a municipal golf course here in Westchester. And one of my playing partners was Barry Marcus, who was at the time the president of the New Rochelle Bar Association. And we got into a conversation, and I immediately joined the New Rochelle Bar.
Okay. And where was your office at the time?
My office at that time was in my home, but quickly it came to be in 271 North Avenue, which is where it is right now.
Okay, so how long have you been at 271 North Avenue?
Oh boy. What's the math on that? 85, 95. 2005, 2015, over 30 years.
Okay. And did you practice here alone?
No, I practiced with my father-in-law, Walter Bobrow, and his brother, Henry Bobrow, until they could no longer practice, and they are both now, unfortunately, deceased.
Okay. And tell us about your joining the New Rochelle Bar and eventually becoming president. Did you work your way up the ladder through the board?
For the first number of years, I was just a member of the bar, and then either when Susan Kettner was the president or Greg Varian was the president, I was invited to join the board. Or maybe it was when Milton's father was the president. But in any event, many years ago, I was invited to join the board, and I was a board member for many years, and took on various responsibilities. And when an opportunity came to serve as vice president, I became vice president. And I served as vice president for a couple of years, and then I became president, and then just a member of the board again, and then president again. So I have served 2 separate 2-year terms.
And what do you recollect about your early days with the New Rochelle Bar? How many members were there? How often did it meet? I'm assuming this predates CLE requirements.
Oh, it certainly predates CLE. Yes, absolutely. Back in the early days. The New Rochelle Bar Association, when I joined it, was largely a social organization. We did very little that was law-related. We had meetings from time to time that were dinner meetings, and enjoyed each other's camaraderie, but that was the extent of it. When Barbara Lerman became the president of the bar, that started to change significantly, and it started to become a much more professional organization.
Okay, and when you became president, did you have certain goals or objectives in mind?
Yeah, when I became president, I felt, first of all, that it was very important as the president to set out a set of goals for myself, where I wanted to lead the Bar Association to, and what I wanted to accomplish. And my first objective was to make the Bar Association a public entity in New Rochelle, to have the Bar Association engage in public events of one kind or another in New Rochelle. So participating, for example, in the Thanksgiving Day Parade, and also participating with the schools, doing a Lawyer in the Classroom project, which I began, and it has continued on to this day under your leadership. So that's been a wonderful project. The other project that I had in mind was giving our members access to the Bar Association via the internet, and making the Bar Association an internet presence. So both of those objectives I accomplished in the 2 different terms that I served.
And as we head into our 2nd century of existence on our 100th anniversary, what do you feel should be our objectives, our goals, our aspirations at this point?
To the extent that the New Rochelle Bar Association can invest itself in the public affairs of the community, that will be to the good. uh, becoming involved, for example, in advising poor people in the city of New Rochelle about their rights, having forums for people to come in and chat with lawyers about various legal problems that they have, would be a public service that we could provide to the community. Continuing on with the Lawyer in the Classroom project and perhaps expanding that from the elementary schools where it has been into the high school and the two middle schools. That would be, so far as I'm concerned, a really successful enterprise for the Bar Association.
Okay, and what advice do you have for the future leaders of the New Rochelle Bar Association?
As much public involvement in the community as is possible. Push the board, get the board to be involved in various events and projects in the community that we can possibly do.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to say to the people who are going to be viewing this oral history?
This Bar Association has been around for an awfully long time. It stretches back into the early days of the 20th century, back to 1920 or 21. And it has evolved, it has changed itself as time has gone on, from basically a social organization to a professional organization. And I wish it well as it goes into the second half of this century.
Okay. And are we involved here in New Rochelle with the court system at all?
Oh yes, we are involved with the court system as well. We have a program where we work with the clerk's office in the city court to provide arbitrators to arbitrate various cases in the city court.
Okay. And how do you feel about recent developments in our expansion into other areas, such as our involvement with the Court of Appeals by having the court come to New Rochelle once a year?
I think it's wonderful. I think that the New Rochelle Bar Association has been blessed by the Court of Appeals and other organizations in recognizing our public commitment and in joining with us in our various projects.
Okay. And one final question. As we sit here now, at the age of 80, tell us what you're doing and what you hope to accomplish in the future in your practice.
My practice is pretty busy at the moment, which is counterintuitive. You would imagine that a person of my age would be slowing down, but unfortunately or fortunately, it depends on your perspective, I'm actually working harder.
Okay, and what type of practice is it at this point?
Doing wills and estates and doing real estate largely. And I do have one guardianship. I have a little old lady that I'm responsible for.
Okay, anything else you'd like to say before we close our interview?
I wish the Bar Association and the community in New Rochelle all the very best.
Okay, thank you for your time, Mr. Sosis.
Sure.